Decision Diaries.
Welcome to Decision Diaries. Today we are going to talk about the decision to start a new creative project.
I know, right?
This was your idea.
I know. And I have done creative projects, and you have too. You don't realize it yet.
Yeah? Like
What do you think this podcast is?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I'm Bruce, by the way. I'm the husband.
Yeah.
Her favorite co-host.
This is a creative project. Yes.
It is, absolutely. You needed to do this.
Yeah, I guess everybody has. You think everybody has a creative project going on?
I don't think they have one, not all going on at once, but everybody's done them, because a creative project can be woodworking, painting. It can be anything. I mean, whatever your favorite, art project is, or art kind of thing you want to do.
Okay.
It doesn't have. It doesn't even have to be. I'm thinking physical art, but there's also literal art. Comedy. You've done that. There's all kind of things.
Okay. So when one is thinking about a creative project, what is the...
Well, let me dive into this.
Yeah.
Because I have done one, and it wore me out, but I'm glad I did it. I did the Project 365 with the photography starting January 1st, and it's, I think, 10 years old, maybe 9 years old. I think 9 years ago I did it. And I started just kind of, I wanted to do a photograph every day, post it online, because it's so easy to post. You can see the photographs. It's so simple. So I started it, and it's hard to finish. That's the thing. It's hard to finish. So you got to be able to set a goal for yourself every day, and you got to finish. And it can be tough, because you may have had a bad day. I had a couple of bad days that year. We had a couple of things going on in our family lives, and yeah, it sucked, but I did it, and I'm glad I did it.
Well, you're really ambitious about a daily creative project.
Yes.
That I felt like that was a very high bar. You did have a time period of 365. So you did daily, and then you had a stopping point.
Right. So I did have a stopping point. And daily it's tough, and this was before the cell phone cameras they're really good now. This is before cell phone cameras were really good. So I would have to take my DSLR, photograph something, process it through Photoshop or Lightroom, and then post it on, I think I posted on Facebook. I don't think I did Instagram then. So I'd post it, and you had to get in a rhythm every day, spending, an hour dedicated to your project. And that's hard to do. When you have 2 children, a wife, a dog, family running around, you have family that were in the middle of this, had health issues. This was, when your mother was sick.
And a full-time job.
And a full-time job. Yeah. So I would walk around, I'd always have my camera in my car or my truck, and I would go snap a photograph. I'd find something I liked, and I'd go snap a photograph. Wake up early morning, go snap a photograph. I had to find themes, because, there's only so many pictures of the Main Street Bridge I could take.
Right.
There's only so many pictures of my dog, and she was beautiful, I could take. So I had to change it up every day, and I had to find the art in every day, or something that sparked my interest every day. That was hard, but I absolutely did it. It was fun.
Well, it's interesting. It feels like we always need a creative project in our life, because
like an outlet, like a creative outlet.
Yeah, a creative outlet outside of work. If you're fortunate enough to work somewhere where you get some creativity in that day, and you're getting paid for your creativity, that's good. I do think that technology is somewhat creative, but I think when I went to you and I was looking for something different, what I was looking for, or when I think of a creative project, it's when you feel like you need to get something out of your head that you've been kind of envisioning, like you're having sort of a vision, and you need to get that out of your head. And then the other thing is you're challenging yourself. Like, am I really a creative person? Let me kick off this project. Like when I go into Michael's, okay, and I see all the creative projects that can happen inside, you look at a craft store and there's so many creative projects that people are in there and they're thinking about. It's amazing. I mean, you can go in all kinds of directions. And when I go in there, I realize very quickly that I do not have any of the crafty skills, right? But
Yes.
creativity comes in many forms. And so with you, creativity is sort of a visual thing,
Mhm.
and you're really good with that. And I like to think creativity with me is writing in words, and some comedy things, although haven't been trained, or I haven't challenged myself to be like a working, actively, what do you call it,
Starving comedian.
starving comedian. Yeah, I haven't really taken that on. I just don't know if I could like deal with the rejection. So I think with a creative project, first of all, I don't think you came with an end goal in mind, meaning like you wanted validation. I think you just did it to get your vision out of your head. Is that
Yes,
what you did it?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I felt like photography has gotten so easy. And back in the day, the magic of photography was if you had a dark room, you develop the photograph, and you'd see the image just appear magically on this thick piece of Kodak paper or Ilford, and it was magic. It was like, oh my god, that's so cool. It was so neat. First time I did it, and I was hooked. I mean, I'd won a scholarship. I'd won a bunch of awards when I was in high school, and that's what I wanted to do. I was locked in, and every time I took a photograph with my dad's Pentax Super K, I would I'd have a roll of film, and if it was a color film, I'd have to go get it developed, and then you get it developed, and you get that little packet of 36 photos, and you'd go through all those 36 photos like, oh my god, these are so good. um, it's always like magic. It was the coolest thing. And then now you can snap a photograph and take your camera and flip it over so the person can see the photograph you took. So that part of the magic, waiting for the photograph to appear to you, is different. But I wanted to, I guess I just wanted to get out. I wanted to shoot a lot more. I wanted to get in the rhythm of shooting, and I I took on this task. They call it Project 365, and I thought, well, let's give it a go and see what happens. And I have got some really good photographs in that bunch. Not all of them are winners. I mean, I know this, but when I did it as a job, when I did photography as a job, I lost the love for photography.
Oh yeah.
So I needed to get that magic back, and it helped me get the magic back. I don't shoot nearly enough now. I mean, I would readily admit that because you get in a daily grind, you get into the work, but it is magic. It is so much fun to catch an image or catch, something that you want to do. Now with you talked about your words, and that's your magic. I mean, you can lace a stream of words together, and I'm just like, how in the hell do you do that? And it's amazing. You'll throw something at me, and I'm like, awful. I don't know how you did that, but and this is kind of your jam. This is kind of things you like to do. And when we were talking about coming up with something creative for you because you felt like you needed to do something, we just kind of stumbled across the word podcast, and I was like, you should do one. And lo and behold, you're at 52 episodes.
Well, a creative project that seems um, so many creative projects seem tangible now. I think technology has helped a lot with that. Like you mentioned, you were able to do some photographs really pretty quickly, and so I think everybody needs to explore maybe their creative side and see if there's something like you could just decide that you want to write poetry and do a poetry post every single day, I
Sure.
imagine. I'm seeing a lot of creativity in all kinds of spaces. I've seen lately, I have seen some of the most creative nails. Okay, I don't know.
Fingernails?
Fingernails. I don't know. I mean, creative fingernails. I mean, people are getting pretty darn
Yeah, they are.
creative with the fingernails. But when I think of a creative project for yourself, some people have a creative project, yeah, going on in their home where they're trying something new. One of our creative projects I think we did in our home is we decided not to go with the tile backsplash, and we
Yeah,
actually have like what would
a
you call that?
weathered wood.
Weathered wood. So
Yeah,
yeah, that was a creative project that, if it didn't go well, I mean, what was the harm?
yeah.
Right.
It-
And I think that's the other thing is you have to be able to kind of explore something, and not all of them are winners, and keep going. I know that not all episodes are winners. I understand this. I think, particularly, I feel like, there are times that I'm on a little bit on the struggle bus, but um, I have to get some creativity out
yeah, you do,
somewhere.
absolutely, and I
Everybody
think
needs an
everybody
outlet.
does, and it could be food, I mean, cooking.
Oh yeah,
I
cooking's
mean,
a good one.
cooking's a really good one. I mean, we've gone to our friend's house, and he wants to cook these crazy cool meals. I'm like, "How what? You wanna cook what?" And it's just like, "Okay, all right, let's go for it," and it's fun. It's a way to do things. It's and there's so much to learn in the world. There's so much to see. And the cool thing about technology is if you don't know how to do something, just Google YouTube and find out, because you can figure it out and then do it the way you want to do it. You can get a good grasp about how you want to do something, and you can modify it and share your results out.
Well, now I'm also trying to encourage my father to get his creative side out.
Absolutely, you are.
I am definitely doing that, and I told my father that he needs to get his creative storytelling focused on the bedtime stories that he used to tell us, and let's get that creativity out, and let's make a little children's book about
Right.
using his character, the Taco Eating Billy Goat. That's a character that completely came from his head, and
Yep.
I think as you retire, I actually think you need to tap into your creativity. You find out so many people retire, and you're like, okay, you have all this time, so find a creative outlet. And it's amazing. Sometimes some people will say, well, I'm not an artist, or I'm not this. Well, it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that if you really look deep down inside, you may be like, you know what? Maybe I should try to explore photography. What if I took a picture a day? What would that look like? What if I wrote down some of the bedtime stories from the past, and wrote those down, and actually used all the latest technology, graphic AI
There
generators,
you go. AI, let's go.
to bring those stories to life. I mean, now you can kind of start a creative project, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Right. It doesn't need to be overwhelming.
Yeah, it
When
just could be something
we
simple.
were growing up, the thought of doing a Project 365 would have cost me thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, now it doesn't really cost me anything but to host my website. That is it. I mean, I don't have to buy film. I don't have to buy developing. It's all done and, you know, over the computer. All I think it cost me is time.
It does cost time. Let's talk
But
about,
but
time. I mean, I think it's time well spent, because you are exploring a part of yourself, and you're looking inward, and you're unique. Every person has like a unique gift, and even though you may not be Ansel Adams, right?
very
You
good call out, by the way.
Well, you had some of those pictures that so were distinctly, you found your distinct self.
Right.
I think when we look at those pictures, some of the things that you were taking pictures of, I was thinking, how is that going to look? But there was a certain style that by doing it every single day, I could now if you just randomly showed me a picture, I would be like, yeah, that's one of your pictures. That's the style
Right.
that you have. So, creative project helps you explore your style. How about that?
Right. Yeah. And I, you talk about, your dad's book. We have friends that like cook. I mean, we have friends that wrote a book. I mean, there's so many things out there to go do. I just, you got to be a little bit creative, and it might be, you know, building a table. It might be
Oh yeah, woodworking.
woodwork.
Wow.
I mean, there's so many cool things out there you can do. And our neighbors have built this kick-ass man room over there in his garage. I'm like, that thing is awesome.
Oh, I mean,
That's creative,
that's a very creative project.
and
Yeah,
it's
to
just like
take your
things like that.
garage and turn it into a bar.
If you want to do a she shed or a man room, I don't care. Make it a pub. Who cares? Do something, but go explore. Go do stuff that you want to go do. That's my whole thing. Is there's so much to do, and
Well, I think
if you want to
creative
make
is
something, yeah,
building something.
yeah,
It's building something that wasn't there, right? It's an idea that you're actually executing on, and when we put the words creative project together, it means it's an idea that you're building on that you are consistently working at,
right,
and you've got some kind of a goal, or you've got some kind of a rhythm that as you are going through that creative process, you're getting better and better and better at it. and
right.
and that's the other thing, is you're supposed to get better. And sometimes I listen to that first podcasting episode, and it's hard because I was like, oh, I think I interrupted my co-host and I didn't wait for them to finish their thought, and I needed to hold back a little bit more. I was really concerned about the ums and the you knows and the likes and all of that. And now I either just don't care or I just don't do those habits anymore. So I'd like to think I'm getting better. I would also like to think that when you're working on a creative project, you may meet another person who has something kind of similar, so you expand your network and you may learn something from them along the way.
Absolutely. Go to like you had your Podfest. You go to your Podfest. There's meetups for photographers. There's woodworking shops. There's cooking classes. There's so many things to go check out, and to be with your tribe, right? The people that are alike you, that help you get to what you want to do. And you find out, most of all, you find a lot about yourself. I mean, I knew I could grind. I knew I could, grind through some stuff, and I could do whatever. I knew I could do a lot of things. The project 365 was tough because there were days that it kicked my, what, and I wasn't proud of some of the stuff I put out there. But I'll take a look back now. It wasn't that bad, but I didn't feel like it was to my level. But I found myself getting better. Like you said, you get better, and you find out, you know, can I finish something? Do I have that gear? Can
Oh,
I finish?
yeah.
And sometimes you just need to know you can finish something. And my goal was to do 365 photographs, in 1 year, every day, post one every day, take a picture that day, post it that day. And I achieved my goal.
Well,
It
what did
was
you learn?
it was the grind, I think, was what I learned. Because I can't say my photographs changed because I still have the things I like to photograph, the machinery, the landscapes. Um, I still like that things, but I think I learned. I mean, gosh, what did I learn? That I can finish something again. I mean, to me, the first thing I ever finished, really wanted to finish, was college. And I wanted to finish that. I was like, okay, I've got to finish this. This is something I've got to do. For some people, that's no problem. For me, it was hard. And it was just a reminder: if I can do it, if I put my mind to it, I can get the job done. And that's what it was
Well,
for
I
me.
think what's really hard for creative people is discipline. I mean, creative people sometimes want to be creative when they feel like it, and sometimes there are days that you don't feel like being creative, but you have to put some discipline around it, or you may not ever get that creativity
Yeah,
out. You
absolutely.
ever meet somebody and you're like, wow, that person is, so boy, they are such a wordsmith, or they use words so well. I bet they'd be a great writer. We have a friend of ours that she has been on this podcast, and she's just one of those people that is just naturally great with the written word, and describing her imagery of everything that she describes, and the words that she chooses, all of that going throughout her creative mind, and all of that. But one of the things she really struggled with was, when do I sit down, or it's never a good time, because I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I have children, and it's never a good time to sit down. And she used her birthday as a catalyst. She used her birthday to be like, okay, I'm turning 40, so every month or so, I'm going to uh, write this article, and
Right.
I'm going to pursue this thing. So she created a creative project based off of, her, like a time period or a significant event in her life, birthday,
Right.
right? But you don't have to wait until you're turning 60 or you're turning 50 to start a creative project. I think if you are one of those people that goes into Michael's and you're like, I don't know. I mean, I probably could learn how to knit. Um, you know, uh
Our son's girlfriend made T-shirts for crying.
yeah, yeah, I think she went into Michael's, and she was, getting a little bored. And the
During
other
COVID,
thing,
yeah, during
yeah,
COVID.
during COVID, and the other thing is, sometimes when you see someone else's creative project, and you think, oh, that's a cool idea, but I have a certain twist, right?
Right.
So I think with her, she saw some cute t-shirts, and then she kind of was like, oh, I think I could actually make that, and challenged herself to make the shirt that she envisioned in her head, which
Right.
was a slightly different one. And then the next thing you know, that just kind of turned into a second shirt, a third shirt, and before you know it, she was designing some other shirts for some other colleges.
Hey,
And
I got two of her shirts.
I know you
I've
are
got
fortunate. She
yeah,
designed two shirts for
she
you.
did.
How lucky were
The
you?
Tiger King, the Tiger King mugshot shirt, which was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, we all got that one.
Yeah, that was a great shirt. And then the Bruce's 50th birthday party shirt, the COVID 2020 shirt,
Yeah,
the one
you're
of a
really
kind.
lucky. Yeah, I want to get the results of
She
somebody's
likes me.
creative projects. Well, there are lots of girls have done things with, creative jewelry.
Girls and
I've
guys.
Yeah, yeah, girls and guys, you're right. And we have a friend of ours that she does some jewelry. And so anytime it's one of our birthdays, we all get one of those nice projects. So that the jewelry thing. Oh, and I have somebody at work that she chose to make the tiniest of tiny, tiny shoes.
Yeah, you told me about that.
I think I've talked to you about that
Yeah,
before. But these vans that are like so tiny, that go into
like
uh,
Van shoes.
van shoes that go into doll houses, or Converses that go into doll houses, that like kind of sit in the closet. I mean, how creative of a project is that you've decided to design a little replica of a shoe that is super small. So I think that's just, again,
But those are the type of things we're talking
relaxing
about.
creative projects.
I mean,
Maybe
there's so
shouldn't
many.
stress you out, right?
No, it shouldn't stress you out. And to be honest, the 365 did not stress me out. It was like I said, it became a grind because I did it every single day. But what I learned was is I got better, and I got really good at shooting. I got really good at figuring out what I was going to do the day before. And developing the photograph online, or not online, on Photoshop. I got really quick at it. I got really good, and I knew when I picked the photograph I wanted to use, I used that. I knew exactly what I wanted to look like, and it was really you get good at it. You get really good at it if you do it a lot. So
Well, yeah, yeah. I
that's the
mean,
key.
you have to be disciplined, and you have to force yourself to be creative on days that sometimes you're not feeling so creative, but maybe that might be the day that you pushed yourself and produce something incredible. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah, and you like you said, you might see something and somebody else does something and they twist it a little bit. You may have inspired someone.
Oh,
You
I
have
love
no
that.
idea. You know, you
I
have
love
no
that.
idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, seriously, I'm amazed at some of the creative people that I meet, or I find somebody has some your sister with her plants and her landscaping and all of the figurines that she incorporates into it. It is a creative masterpiece with a flower bed. I
It's a
mean, I've never
piece.
seen anything like that. That is really kind of interesting. And every time we come over, it's always being turned into something else. I would also like to say that one of my friends, it was getting into uh, creative what is it? Fairy vignettes, like the little small
Yeah,
miniature little fairy things at the bottom of the tree. Like,
right.
I don't know. I know these don't sound like very deep creative projects, but they are things that you can just envision and then take a step back and be like, there was nothing there. And then I created this thing. And then once you get really good at it, you want to kind of do it again. And so, as we talk about it, it's like we're all contributing to her creative project. I bought her a couple little chairs for her birthday so she could add to her little set there. And it's crazy, but it's kind of like everybody has something creative to offer.
Right. It's all different.
And
Everybody's
how
different.
many people just kind of put it off and don't create a project. And so I think one of the challenges here is, if you're listening to this right now, think about something creative that you'd like to do.
Now 52 weeks ago, 52 weeks ago, you were coming down the podcast, you were starting your new podcast.
Yeah, I don't know,
I mean, that's
I
a
don't
year ago.
yeah.
So now or then compared to now, I mean, look how much you've grown and how much you've learned in this year. I mean, we talked about in the 50th podcast, but it's amazing, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we turn it around pretty good. I think I've learned a lot about the technology, and I've learned a lot about more so some social media things. And I've also learned how to meet people and ask people to come on the podcast. So I do have someone else coming on the podcast this week and a
what?
few others coming up. So I'm sorry to say that you may be getting a break from next week.
Oh,
So you're welcome. You have joined me on this creative project. So now I don't feel like
well,
I'm totally alone.
you are always on my 365 because I obviously there's some photographs of you, and you allowed me to take that hour of time away from the boys that night to do it. So I appreciate you. So helping you out is not a big deal. One of the things that I was thinking about is, where do you get to see these great pieces of work of art? And I was thinking about where could I go? And it dawned on me there's art festivals everywhere. There's a Riverside Art Market in Jacksonville that's under an overpass every Saturday, and you get to see all these creatives. And it's fun to see what people come up with and they want to do. I mean, you got people with cool dog leashes.
Oh, yeah, we've bought some
Yeah, we
dog
bought some
leashes
of
from
those
them, yeah.
bows. I mean, you got
Little
people
bows for
doing,
dogs.
yeah, wood carvings like we talked about. Some people are creative with technology like steel. My buddy Chris makes stainless steel um, art. Basically, there's no way to put it. I mean, he
Yeah,
makes these
stainless steel art,
stainless
yeah.
steel art. Yeah, so
Well, I can tell you one of my fails that didn't end up in a ongoing creative project because I quickly realized maybe it was not my thing. Creative soap looks like it's so easy. And when you go to Michael's and Michael's like, "Sure, just grab some glycerin soap. Here, grab an aroma, and then if you want to turn it a color, here's some coloring. And then if you want to, put some sprinkles in it or something like that, make your soap all colorful." Easy peasy. Just microwave it and pour it in. And so me and my sister-in-law thought for Christmas we would do a creative project that we would give everybody in the family these colorful, interesting great smelling handmade soaps. Well, that did not result in people receiving gifts of handmade soaps. Instead, that resulted in us laughing hysterically about how hard handmade soaps are. And now, like you mentioned, when I go to the Riverside Arts Market and I see somebody with a handmade soaps and they are just looking gorgeous, I really appreciate them now.
Sure.
So trying a creative project and even failing at the creative project will at least help you appreciate. And I am happy to pay $5 for those really designer looking soaps with all the little cute things in them that you can kind of put out as like not soaps that you use to wash your hands, but soaps that you use to kind of be
Decorative.
decorative soaps. Um, I appreciate those and I am happy to fork over some money for those because doing it yourself, even though Michael's made it look simple, is not so simple. So try a creative project, if nothing else, that you fail at it and appreciate other artists who do it.
Yeah, and have fun. That's the whole thing. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to have fun in life. You got to experience things. You got to try things, and you never know. You might grab a what is it, a canvas and put a piece of paint across it and realize you might be the next Monet, or you might not be. Who cares? Do you like
Oh
it?
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I mean, we
paint with a twist.
painting with a twist. Yeah, painting with a twist was really interesting because even analytical people like myself, or if you happen to be an engineer or you happen to be an accountant, there is a creative side in all of us. But when it comes to painting with a twist, I think alcohol is very helpful for an analytical or an engineering type person because when, the artist was like just paint a line across the canvas. My first initial question was, how thick is the line? How straight does the line have to be? I had a lot of questions and I was just over analyzing it and they came up to me with some of the wine. And by the time I really put my paintbrush on the canvas, your line was already out there and you had moved on to like the other next steps. And I was still super focused on my line. And then I just had to let it go. I had to let it go. I had to let the wine take over. And then from there, I stopped over analyzing it. And, creativity is really just letting go
Yes.
and letting it go out there and not expecting anything to be perfect but going out there and just going with what you feel. So painting with a twist, if you are an analytical minded person, um, go and watch yourself let go. And I thought that was so interesting when we went because each of us, there was at least one analytical representative in each couple,
Yeah.
and there was one, truly sort of salesperson or laid back person or somebody who was less analytical. And you guys were done lickety split, and the rest of us were taking a while to catch up to you. So don't overthink it. I think that is where I'm coming to. Don't overthink it. When you have a creative thought, write it down, and then best of all, execute on that thought and use all the cool tools that are out there now.
Yeah. So many.
And you will discover a side of yourself that you just never even knew.
Right. Go try something new. I don't know. I mean, I started playing with the whole AI generating thing and image generator. That's really fun. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, you can really get
oh
lost in that.
yeah, you could
I
just
think I
go
think
down a rabbit
everybody
hole,
should
man.
everybody should try to do that. Well, we are this creative project was your idea. I think,
Yes.
if you want to just kind of talk about the day that you kicked it off, because it really did feel like it came out of left field for me. So what finally put you over the top with that?
On the 365.
Yeah, like if somebody right now is thinking, well, I have a creative idea, but like when when do I know I'm ready to kick off the project?
I That's a very good question, Lynn. And I wish I had a great answer for you, an easy answer. There's not an easy answer. It was the first of the year, and January 1st, I kind of like a couple weeks prior to that, I kind of in my mind was like, I think I want to do this Project 365 thing. I kind of heard rumblings about it. Maybe I can do it. Can I commit to it? And I committed to it. I'm like, okay. I'm going to do it. And so I think I told you the 31st, like, hey, tomorrow I'm starting this stupid project. I'm going to do 365 photographs every day for a year. I'm going to shoot that day, process that day. And you kind of looked at me like, okay, and I'll give you your runway, do what you got to do. And so I had everything in place. I had the technology, obviously. I think I had one hiccup in technology the whole time, and it didn't really cost me anything. But what made me want to do it, I just needed to do something. I needed to get what was in my head out,
Yeah.
and I felt like I had to get it going. I had to get my one of I've loved photography since I was 14, 15 years old, and I had to get it going again and moving again. And I've always felt like I was a pretty good photographer. I'm not great. I don't think I'm great, um, but I wanted to move forward with it. I wanted to see what can I do if I do something every day. What will it look like at the end of the day? I was happy at the end of the day. I wanted to see if I press myself hard every day, and I know it's not hard work. I'm making it sound like it's hard work. It is not hard work, but it is a grind. It will. You do have to dedicate time for some of these extracurricular activities. You do have to work, and at the end of it, I was proud that I finished it, and I was proud of how I changed. Um, and what I mean by that, my style kind of elevated a bit. I was able to do things that I was able to see things differently. I mean, I still have the style I shoot, the way I shoot, but I think the my I found more beauty in every normal everyday things than I ever have.
Okay.
I mean, I found
Well,
it's
you
hard to
were
describe it.
fulfilling the creative side of yourself.
Right. I needed to scratch that itch, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to do it. And I felt like if I didn't, I would have never known. Right? Could I do it? Yes. Was it life threatening? No. But could I do it? Can I do it? Let's test myself. Let's why not see what I can do? And so that's what I did.
Okay.
Does that make
So,
sense?
yeah,
Is that kind of what you're doing here?
I guess that's what I'm doing here. I mean, sometimes I think being creative is not always so concerned with the end goal. End goal meaning you're looking for other people to validate you. I think sometimes uh taking on a creative project is, like you said, getting an idea out of your head, challenging yourself, and then afterwards you've got something. You have something. You have either learned something, or you may have a tangible something.
Right.
I learned a lot about soap. I had those tangible soaps after I was done. Not that they would ever sell or anybody would ever buy them for me, but then I think I left that creative project with appreciation for other people who do creative soaps. And so if nothing else, I learned what I can or cannot do. So again, I think if you're thinking, well, what could be a creative project out there, you go into a Michaels, you can think of it, they will lead you down a path of something. There is cake decorating. Your mom
Yep. She was a
really
cake
got
decorator.
into cake decorating, and I would
Ceramics,
go over
macrame.
to your house, and your mother was systematically working on a particular technique. And then the next time that we had a birthday cake, we got to see that technique. And then she kind of layered upon that. Really good, really getting really good at that. And going and getting all the different varieties of components
Right.
so that she
Music.
could challenge herself.
Music's
Oh, well,
another one.
let's talk about music. So we invested in our children being creative this past Christmas. That our younger son is trying to learn how to play bass guitar, and our older son, who we bought a guitar a long time ago, found an interest in it again and is exploring music. And can't say enough about music. Music is also one of those that, if you can play an instrument or learn how to play an instrument, um, it's pretty incredible. I think you get a lot of feedback pretty quickly when you learn a song and you're able to play a song, even if you don't create a new song.
Right.
Learning how to play another person's creative song is in itself a creative project. So encouraging. Go out there and try it.
Go do it.
Anything else you want to say?
No,
No?
I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure there's something I'm missing, obviously, because I think you're leading me. But I really think you just need to go out and explore. If you have something in your head and you're like, well, I don't want to do it. I can't do it. I don't have time. I mean, if you take an hour a week for yourself, you're not cheating anyone. Really, you're not cheating anyone. I mean, you might think you're cheating your family a little bit, but it's self-preservation. Sometimes you got to get in your head out, and I think that's good. I think it's expressive. I think it helps. I don't think. I'm sure there's some negatives out there, but
What would be negative about a
I
creative project?
I don't know.
I think as a parent, if you are doing a creative project for yourself, for your own personal growth, that shows your children that that is healthy and that they
Yeah.
also too should think of creative projects. So lead by example. And if you are like us and you're empty nesters in your 50s and there aren't little eyes looking up at you to set an example, um, then I feel like you've got some time to really work on yourself. And so explore your creative side. If up to this point you've thought about everybody else, you've been taking care of everyone else's needs, now is a great time for you to think about your own.
Absolutely. Go figure something, go do something new, test yourself.
And no, this
Just
is
test
not
yourself.
sponsored by Michaels, although
No.
I feel like they should, because
They
I've
should
mentioned them
definitely give you money to
I
for
feel like
sure.
I've mentioned them several times. So, okay, so I'm gonna just put a plug here that if you're thinking about a decision, we are the people to reach out to, and you can come on this podcast and let this podcast be your decision diary and share your decision and the lessons you've learned, inspire somebody else to make a similar decision, and go up to decisiondiaries.com and just drop a quick one line sentence saying, I made this decision and I want to talk about it. Let us know how we can get in touch with you and come on the show.
Come on. Yeah. And, be curious, try things out, enjoy life, because you only get one time on this earth. Make it the best.
Right. And be creative.
Be creative.
And curious.
And curious.
And curious. Thank you so much for listening.
See ya.
Decision Diaries.